Have you ever thought about using trading bots? I used BitsGap in the last bull market and turned $1,000 into $50,000 within a 5-month period. I documented the whole process and put it in a playlist if you want to see that, along with other training videos and tutorials how to set bots up and make the most of the volatility of the crypto market. If you sign up with a link in the description, you'll get a 7 days free trial with no obligation to continue, and you can also use a demo account within BitsGap so you don't have to risk your own capital. BitsGap! Hello everybody, welcome back. Good morning. Let's have a think about what I think could be an alt season. That's right, I'm going to say it. So I'm not going to say alt season very often. And look, when I say alt season, I'm not going to talk about one like 2021 or one like 2017 or even the one in 2020 or even the one that we did in October to basically March, we'll call it. They were alt seasons. This is basically just a setup on Ethereum and a variety of other altcoins we were doing the Patreon last night. There was quite a few that were presented in the same way. Some didn't, some did. And it's basically what we see is this. It's a giant consolidation from the peak. This is Ethereum's peak over here. The most recent peak, 4,100. Not too bad, not too bad. All the way down to 200 exponential or simple moving average. After a golden cross, so this is basically a golden cross retest. So it's not like the best thing you've ever seen in the world, but more often than not, what you see from these, and again, more often than not, so it happens more often than it doesn't happen, you get a V-shaped recovery from these. So whether it's the exponentials or the simples, or maybe we're going to front run it, I don't know, but that's what you normally get. So the exponential comes in at 2,800, simple comes in at, we'll say 2,700. So really, in between these, this area is where we should expect the V-shaped recovery to come from. So that'll take us back up to the previous high, and sometimes, and again, not always, sometimes you get continuation. Now, this is going to upset a lot of people, I can imagine that. But it's just a setup. That's all it is. It's not, like I say, just Ethereum. There's ICP I mentioned on the Telegram a couple of days ago that I took a position in this for the exact same reason. This is a golden cross retest where you would expect a V-shaped recovery and then some. So the reason I chose to highlight this on the Telegram is because it actually touched the moving average, and I suppose the top targets would be much greater. So if we saw a move from where I picked it up from, around 1150, up to that level there, 1440, 25%. If it got a proper V-shaped recovery to the candle body highs, 64%, almost 65%. And if we did go any further, we're quite close to what would be almost a 100%, so doubling your money. Again, it's not a guarantee, it's just a setup, something that we see more often than not. And we always joke about it on the Patreon, but you know, it's one of those times when you think, well, I want to take the position, but I'm worried about all the other aspects of the market, you know, whether that's the S&P pulling back or the Dixie breaking out, or you know, we've got CPI coming out today. I'm worried about all of that. That's fine to be worried. It's okay to be worried. That's what risk management's all about. But you know, like I say, we joke about these sort of things when we see these setups, and I say, I bet in a couple of weeks, you know, the best trader I know he's called Captain Hindsight, right? And what he does, he looks back at trades setups that have already presented themselves and played out, and then gone, yeah, that would have been a perfect trade. What was I waiting for? That's basically what this is. Again, not a perfect trade at all. I'm not saying there's absolutely no guarantee on this. And again, I took the position on this one 2 days ago. But yeah, Ethereum, ICP, and you know, you'll have to have a look at your own charts. There was quite a lot. We looked at a variety of altcoins last night. All different, you know, all different market caps, all different exchanges. Some were like this, some weren't like this. Some were top caps, some were small caps, some were micro caps. You know, there is no altcoin that is exactly the same as the other. But I'll probably say what felt like about 20% of the altcoins that we looked at presented in the same way. And the beauty is that Ethereum's presenting this way, which means that if the big one with the big market cap is presenting this way, the chances are, if it does start to move as a result of that, it can change the direction of the total two, which is also in a similar kind of setup really. Golden cross, move all the way up. We're quite far away from actually retesting that. you know, it's not actually hit it yet, has it? It's 8% away, another 11% away. And again, if we come down to these levels, then I suppose we do the same thing again. But a bit more of a broader outlook of altcoins based on this particular chart. So have a look at the dominance chart then to see how that's looking, because again, you know, if we're going to say the word alt season, we've got to think about the altcoin market cap versus Bitcoin, because rotations, well, have often been the main driver of alt seasons, and we've not really seen that this time. We've not seen it at all. We've just seen alt rallies, and we've not seen anything other than that. And the Bitcoin dominance chart is bullish AF. It's bullish AF, and it continues to be bullish AF. There's nothing to stop it from being bullish AF. So I don't really see any reason for it to be rejected at this exact area at all. The main areas of rejection are up here at 58 and 64, really, give or take. We do have one major driver of bearish divergence, but we also have golden crosses on the weekly, so we've never seen that before. We don't know what that means because we've never had it, but I would assume that regardless of not being able to backtest that, we should assume that it's bullish still. So that doesn't look good for the form of rotation, but it still doesn't necessarily matter because this is just a trade setup. Now I've been talking about dollar cost averaging into altcoins that you want. I've dollar cost averaged into 2 so far. You know, from a couple of days ago, the first one obviously being ICP, second one being VeChain, and VeChain's setup is similar, although not quite as strong. So what we see is a golden cross retest which has failed, but we've come down to a horizontal area of significance, 3.2 cents. But my main thing was always this. There was a golden cross on a weekly. We're coming down to it. That's sitting at 3 cents. I like to front run my targets, which is what I did, and I'm in it now, and this is my first dollar cost average for VeChain. There's also, believe it or not, a pump signal that's generated up here at 4.2 on the weekly, which hasn't played out. So you get a golden cross and a pump signal. Normally you'd expect a decent play on that. Recognise we're looking at this on a weekly time frame, so it might take a little bit of time, but it seemed reasonable because I never have ever built a position in VeChain ever before. It's something that I've always been aware of. I've never traded it. And so I've started to build a position in it now. If it goes down lower, then I'll buy it back again, because this is one giant accumulation zone. And although it quite could easily break down below and back into the accumulation zone, I thought I'll start by putting my money where my mouth is, buying the golden cross on this weekly, given the fact that that's a sign of strength, with a pump signal as well. And see where it takes me. If it goes down lower, it's no big deal. I am only building a position, you know. Yeah, if you laid the foundations of your house, would you sleep there the next day? No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't. But you'd be happy that you'd started, because the dream was to build upon those foundations and to make the house big and great. And that's what I'm looking to do when you build a position in any portfolio. You know, I know, it's almost impossible to catch the absolute low as it is to sell the absolute top. But you've got to start somewhere. I made a video on VeChain, which actually got watched quite a lot, actually, about, you know, where I'm looking to buy it from. That was probably a couple of weeks ago I made that video, 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it was down here where I said it was. There were people on that video saying, why, if you want to buy VeChain, why don't you just buy it right now? It's like 4.5 cents. Why don't you just buy it right now if you really want it? Because I think it's going to come down a bit, that's why. So I didn't really necessarily want to buy it there where I could have bought it here. I got a 22% discount, probably more like a 24% discount. That's why I waited. And you know what? I'm not going all in on it, so don't go mad. Literally, I'm building positions. But anyway, VeChain similar, ICP similar, mostly looking for Ethereum, which again does position itself a bit lower if you really wanted to get the pure retest. And so there is no perfect entry on these, but there is getting closer and closer to it. We're talking between a 4 and a 6% move down from today's price action before you catch those bounces. So there you go. We'll call it alt season just to get the clicks. Recognise that I only want clicks so I can give you a daily dose of honesty and truth. You know, sorry to trick you if you really felt like you've been tricked, but better to be tricked into a world of truth than tricked into a world of hopium, which is what YouTubers like to do. They'll just say anything because they want you to hear what you want to hear, and you want to hear what you want to hear, I'm not bearish on this. I'm bullish on it. So it should end up and result in profit regardless. But I'm not talking about a millionaire starter kit here. I'm talking about building positions on what I would consider to be a bullish retest of a golden cross on a variety of different altcoins. These are just some of the ones that I've seen. There was loads that we looked at last night, which is again why you should probably join the Patreon, because we can look at all of these together. And you have more access to more information that you might not necessarily be on your own, which is good. You know, there's power in numbers, isn't there? But other than that, I'll leave it with it there. It's probably going to be a choppy day anyway because of CPI. It probably will come through hotter than expected, but I don't think it will come through too hot, because over the last month oil has been trending down a little bit, getting ready, in my opinion, to bounce around the $75-50 a barrel. And that's where I would take a long position on this one. And we'll see. If it breaks down below here, then excellent. That means CPI for the rest of the year is likely to continue to go down. So lower inflation, and markets will respond positively to that. But we'll see. We'll see. I expect slightly higher, nothing too much. So I think it will be bullish for the markets anyway, even if it is slightly hotter than expected. I don't think it's going to be dramatic. So we are looking for a bit of a green day, in my opinion. So that being that is all that there is to say. Good luck out there if you're looking to make some trades. If you're still sitting on the sidelines, that's also fine as well, because we recognise that there is absolutely almost a guaranteed chance of lower prices anyway. But when we're talking risk to reward, it's actually an acceptable thing. Positioning yourself, starting to build positions at this point now, maybe putting in 10% of that tether or fiat that you've got, that you've hoarded after selling the tops around January, March, then why not start to redeploy? We've had a discount now, even on Ethereum. We've had a discount of 30%. Some altcoins have had a discount of 60 to 70%. Might be okay to start testing the water, dipping your little toe in there to see how it feels. Again, I don't think the market's going to turn around significantly until towards the end of this summer. But you're going to start somewhere. I've also deposited a couple of Ethereum, getting close to that, about $5,000 worth of Ethereum into OKX, where I'm going to be doing my BitsGap bot journey. So I'm just going to experiment with some bots before I truly decide where I'm going to do my bots and how I'm going to do them. But if you want to set up a BitsGap account, there's a link in the description below, and you will get 7 days free trial, no obligation to continue. Other than that, though, I hope you have a nice day. Take it easy.